you know, a longer club. The position of the ball relative to the body is such that if we drew a line perpendicular straight across to his stance line, the ball should be positioned pretty much off the left shoulder there. Now, for a 6-iron, you're right off your left pocket of your shirt, which is pretty much where you got it. And I didn't even tell you to do that. Biomechanically, you should stack your load-bearing joints. So you want your ankles, your hips, and your shoulder sockets to be in alignment, which you pretty much are there. You could go a little wider with the feet, just a fraction wider.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to put a box on your hips. Now your hips aren't supposed to shift laterally, they only rotate. On the downswing, the hips shift laterally, but not on the backswing. So that's pretty good. There's minimal movement side to side. There's minimal movement up or down. So you maintain a pretty good axis of rotation there. I'm going to remove some of these lines and just draw a little point here and see what your movement's like. That's pretty good. There's the left elbow bending, so you compromise your radius there.
Oh, look at the wrist and elbow.
Right, so that's very common. That's a beginner fault. Now look at the pro here. Here's the co-activation. As he finishes his backswing, his lower body's already started to move forward right there.
Yeah.
So there's the co-activation piece. Then the hips are going to lead, then the torso, then the arms, and the last thing to get to the ball is the club head. And then you have that unleashing of angular momentum here, and then at impact you have the shaft, which is this is a law of golf. You want to have the handle in line with the lead forearm, and of course impact doesn't look anything like address.
So do you think with this I'm also probably pushing too much with my right hand?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's that makes perfect. Yep. That would only make sense. Why? Because you have more motor, you know, your motor senses are much higher on this side. You got better acuity and all that. So anyway, here's another minor flaw that, again, I could point out 100, but we're not going to do that. We want to have a good grip, and when we want to swing around our axis, pretty much your head is your axis. Now, does your head move? Yeah, minimally, 2 inches here or there, but not 10 inches, right? I mean, if you watch most golfers, the reason they're able to hit the ball consistently in the middle of the club faces is because the radius of the swing, which is the length from the humerus to the end of the club, that isn't compromised. And of course, the biomechanical degrees of motion. You know, you have some up and down, you have some side bend, and you have, you know, a lot of rotation, but there's not excessive amounts of any of it. You know, so like even though this has got this person, I took this video without a tripod, the ball's moving because my hand's moving. There's still limited amount of movement in his head, you can see.
Yeah.
And then you can see how much power he's getting from the ground. You know, so there's 3 forces, and there's center of pressure. How hard you push against the ground, generate vertical force. There's shear force or rotational force, and then there's lateral force, which is not a power source. So, but he's using the ground pretty good here, and he's generating some speed. And that's the, you know, at home, what you want to do is get in front of the mirror and just put your body in these positions. You know, watch the video and then get in front of the mirror and then put your body in these positions. So what do you need to do? You got to get more lateral shift and more rotational movement out of your lower body. Now, is that pertinent at your level? Not really. What's most important is to learn the impact alignments, because that's going to control initially what you do in terms of direction and distance and centerness of hit. If the golf club is leaning forward at impact, it's very simple. You cover the entire ball. So now you're going to get a nice solid hit. Your center of mass is really going to hit the ball, which is, you know, in a golf club. But if you have an inverse relationship between the handle and club head, you're going to have an ascending arc, and then you're going to be hitting.
Topping it.
Yeah.
So let me just see what that. So the